Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I welcome you all in this lecture. It's very important lecture for hunting the scholarship and how we can avail the consent from international supervisors for higher degree by research. Like if you want to go for a master degree, if you want to opt PhD, as well as if you're looking for some postdoc fellowship, then what are the steps, what are the tactics, what are the approaches which we have to follow to hunt the scholarship as well as to confirm admission in top ranked universities. So it's all about based on my experience which I have took during my postdoc as well as in my networking with or collaboration with international professors and scholars, and it can be useful for any young scholar if he or she is looking for admission in PhD or postdoctoral admission or scholarship in international universities. It's almost a bit time consuming activity, and within I think if you work on these steps within few months, a couple of quarters, someone can secure his admission, his or her admission in international university and can avail the scholarship based on these steps. But these are not hard and fast rules. This is totally based on my experience. So first of all, we have to clearly focus that in which country you want to go for scholarship or your postdoc or PhD or master degree. So first step is we have to list on the countries. First step is we have to list on the countries. Then how you will be able to manage, how you will be going to contact with supervisor, how we can write an effective research proposal, what can be the accomplishment statement, and so on. So based on my experience, we can start this lecture related to how we can hunt the scholarship or secure our admission. Suppose please start, we have to list on the name of countries. It can be, you can select either, I will be suggesting you can go for some English speaking countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Belgium, Ireland, and so on, UK, USA. You can target these countries, these are English speaking countries, and whatever is reasonable or you can think that it will work for you, you can avail, you can target by that. So first of all, we can, you have to develop the folder, you have to manage your folder in your laptop and your desktop. For example, here is PhD suppose admission. In international universities, international. Okay. So the first approach is there are two major parts. One is related to supervisor selection. One is related to supervisor selection. Okay, one is related to supervisor selection, and second part is related documents. Related documents. Look, PhD, postdoc, and research degree is all about management. How you effectively manage yourself, manage your time. It's all about commitment and so on. Supervisor selection is very important. And as you know, that every supervisor or professors are working on different projects, and they have some fellowships, and they are working on some projects, and those projects can offer the fellowships or scholarships for master degree, postdoc, PhD, and so on. So here we start we have to list down the countries. Suppose you have to develop a folder. You have to develop a folder by the name of countries. Name of countries. I suppose you can in this folder you can develop some other folders. You can make some other folders. You can manage some other folders, like, for example, first of all, I want to opt my PhD in Australia. Then I suppose I'm looking for my PhD in, I assume I want to go USA. Then if I want to opt my PhD in New Zealand, and so on. It's up to you if you want to go France, Germany, Belgium, Italy, and so on. Actually, all activities is based on my experience, and most of my students hunt the scholarships for their PhD in Australia and New Zealand. They avail the full funded scholarships. In France, like Italy, Spain, USA, UK, and Australia and New Zealand, they have availed the full-time scholarships, and we worked on these approaches. I assume in Australia you have maintained a folder that is name of countries. In that folder you have to manage some subfolders with specific to the name of countries. I assume first is Australia, and in Australia there are several universities. Then you have to list down the name of universities. Name of universities. And here, what ranking you follow? Normally, we follow QS ranking. Or time education ranking. It's up to you. If you want to follow QS ranking, then you can list down the universities working in Australia which are ranked by QS. Here you have to manage a Word document. In Word document, it is important. For example, the first university in Australia, I assume I develop a Word file which is comprising a table, and that table is important. How you will manage that table? Suppose I draw a table here. Here is a table. It's important, very important. Assume here is a name of university. Okay, university name. Then here you have to manage. The name of supervisor, name of professor, potential professor, your supervisor or supervisor. You can write potential professor. Okay. For example, the first university is in Australia, that is, I assume that is Australian National University. Potential supervisor, then you can write here the research interest. Research interest of what? of potential supervisor, or we can name it research area. Okay, then you have to right here, you can place the, how we can name it, URL or link, web link of professor profile. Okay, link of supervisor profile. Okay, or we can name it web link of potential supervisor. I assume I am going to first, here is the name of university. The first university is, I assume, ANU, Australian National University. ANU, Australian National University. I simply explore the website of Australian National University, then you can go to the particular department related to your field. Suppose we are student of finance. Obviously, I will be going for School of Management, and then I can scroll down to department, that is finance, accounting, finance department, and so on, economics and finance department, whatever the relevant depart prevailing in that university, you can go to that department. Then there will be a link related to the candidate staff, or list of supervisor, or list of professors. Suppose you like, I assume I know a couple of people in Australian National University, like Professor Tashanki. He is working in Australian National University as a professor in Department of Finance. I simply write his name. I have just explored his website, his link, his profile. I will go through his profile. Brief summary will be given of every professor. Brief bio, we can name it a brief bio. You can go through bio, then you can go through the research interest of that professor. Okay, then you can go for his or her publications, recent publication, in which domain he is working, and in which journal they are publishing. Then after that, you can explore his website. Then you can write his area of interest. I suppose Professor Tashanki Jamdar is working in domain of, I assume, asset pricing. I assume he is working in investment strategies, or he is working in corporate finance domain. Okay. Then once you open his profile, then you have to copy the link of his web page or his profile. Then you can paste that link here. Okay. Why we are going to paste link here? That is important. I assume you explore 50 plus universities, and on average you are maintaining the record of couple of 2 or 3 professors in your area of interest, which the area of your interest is related to the area of interest of that professor. Once at the end, whenever you want to go through his profile, his or her profile, to check in which domain, in which journal they are publishing, what are their new publications, and you can take insights from his or her website, then the link will be there. Then you can simply open this file and click on the link, and you can explore his website. Okay, it will help you in future if you want to go for collaboration, if you want to go for networking with international professors. You are already having the brief profiles of all professors and in which domain they are working, and here is link of their website or profile. You can simply click here and you can check what are their current interests, research interest. then you can make collaboration, you can send requests to professors, and I will guide you in later how we can make a request, what we have to write in our request, what we have to write in email, what will be mentioned in cover letter, how we can generate the accomplishment statement, our research statement and research proposal. Our proceeding, our next videos will relate to those components, which is the related document part. First of all, we are going to if you are looking for admission in PhD, or you want to hunt scholarship for your PhD or postdoc and master degree, and this is the approach. There are two major heads. One is supervisor selection, that is important, and for supervisor selection what the basic documents are required. So first of all, we are talking about this head. In this head, supervisor selection, you have to manage a folder having the name, country's name, and then you have to make subfolders with respect to each country. I took the example, if I want to opt Australia, and Australia, first of all, I will download the list of universities which are working in Australia, and we can follow different how I can say ranking, like QS ranking, education ranking, and so on. I have list down the name of universities working in Australia. Here is the first university. First university is ANU, and I can explore ANU website, Australian National University website. Then particular, I went to the finance department, and you can also download the list of the finance department link here. You can place the link of finance department here, and from that link you can explore the profiles of available supervisors or professors. We took the example of one professor. Suppose we simply write the name of that professor. Suppose Shanki Yanda is working in this Australian university, and he is having area of interest like asset pricing, investment, and so on. So you can place the link here. Here is another professor, third professor, fourth professor, 5 professors. There are professors, associate professors, senior lecturer, and so on. You simply go through one by one and check their interest. If their areas of interest, if you are working in the same area of research, then you can simply place their name, and you can note down their area of interest, and you can place the link here. I suppose there are 20 professors. There are 20 faculty members working in Australian National University in the Department of Finance. But my interest in which domain I am working, my interest is my interest is related to 5 professors, and there are 5 professors. My and their research interests are aligned. Research interests are aligned or same. I can simply write down their data here. Then I will move to another university. I suppose that is Queensland University or University of Queensland, and there are different professors like Professor Fief is working here. He is very renowned professor, and simply same approach, go to the website of university, then explore the finance department, and then you can check the list of the name of professor and so on. Okay, Professor Fief, for example, or we can name it Pitching Professor. He is a pitching professor named by Pitching Professor. So you can explore his profile. Next professor. Suppose there are 3 professors whose interest, areas of interest and your area of interest are same. There are 3 professors in this university. Then you can go for another university like QUT, Queensland University of Technology. I know a professor. Here is Professor Peter. you can simply go to the website of this university, then explore the finance department, and then you can go through the profiles of professors, available professors or associate professor, lecturer or faculty member. And there is Professor Peter, I know him, and we are working on different projects, and you can summarize his profile, his area of interest, and you can place the URL here. In the end, I suppose there are 15 universities. And after going through those 15 universities, I suppose there are 30 professors. There are 30 professors whose area of interest are same with my area of interest. Our area of interest are same. We are working in same domain. I suppose I am working in corporate finance domain, or my area of interest is in corporate finance, corporate governance, suppose energy finance, green finance, risk management, or corporate governance. And obviously the professors are working in, they might be working in these domains. In the end, I suppose out of 15 universities, on average you have 3 professors at each university whose areas of interest are aligned with your area of interest, or your area of interest is you are working in the same domain. If you are working in same domain, in 15 universities there are 45 professors, I assume. In our country, you have 45 options to send your request, for scholarships and so on, for your PhD admission. First of all, any scholarship, if you want for PhD, if you want to a postdoc, the major component is availability of supervisor. The major thing is, most important is the availability of supervisor and consent of supervisor. If supervisor is not available, then if you are having any scholarship, any funding, that will be useless. First component is availability of supervisor. Then the second component, how you will fund your PhD. What will be the sources of funding? How you can fund this scholarship. As I stated earlier, that in these universities, these professors might be working on different projects, different research projects, funded projects, and they are having a lot of fundings. They are having a lot of funds to support, to hire new PhD, or to intake new postdoc fellowships, okay, to engage them in their projects, okay. So they are having enough funds. This is one source of supporting your PhD with the funds available with supervisor. First component is availability of supervisor, consent of supervisor, and how we can avail the consent from professor. First of all, you have to homework by yourself. And then, what is this? This is all about homework to how we can avail the consent from supervisor. This is the approach, best approach as per my experience, as per my understanding. In the end, out of 15 universities, I have option to send the email to 45 professors. Out of 45, the response rate normally, as I have experienced, the response rate is very low. Might be 10%, might be 15%, or below 10%, and maybe you are not getting the acknowledgement of your email from the target professor. So obviously that's why I always recommend my students, you must have to explore, and you must be having more options, and then you will be getting the better response from different professors. But it depends what actually you are going to send him, how you are drafting your email, and how you build the interest of professors to read your email. Then he or she has to reply to your email, and so on. So you should be very careful while searching your professor. Okay. Now the important is you have screen out the professor, then you have to go through what are the possible available options to support your PhD, to fund your PhD. Every country governments are mostly offering different scholarships to hiring new PhD, okay, to have new PhD, to have new postdoctoral fellows and so on. And every university, normally they also offer some funds to intake new PhDs or master students. Then you have to gone through very carefully. First of all, as we took the example of Australia, I will be exploring what are the possible funding agencies available to support my PhD or postdoc. Clear, students? So here in Australia, first of all, Australian endeavors program all supports for to PhD as well as master and senior fellowships and postdoctoral research, and there are also many scholarships offered by Australian government. Then these are the government-based scholarships. Then you can go for the website of university. Okay, every university normally they offer scholarships for their PhD or master or MPhil or postdoctoral fellowship. Then you can look that which fellowships are available there. Okay, this is general scholarship from the government. It's for everyone. And if some universities are offering at university level scholarships are there, and there will be some eligibility criteria or some basic requirements who can apply for scholarships and so on. If you look at the individual scholarship which can be offered by professors, you are already listed on the name of professors. Then you can go through that which of the professor is having funding. Okay. Then if you have and their area of interest and your area of interest are same and you are working in same domain, then you can write the request to professor that I have prepared a proposal and I am working aligned with your research interest. You are working in this domain and so on. I am also working in that domain. I am intended to take admission in my PhD and I'm looking for some professor to supervise in my research and so on. I will guide you in later phase that what actually we have to write in the letter, cover letter as well as in email. That is second step. So my point is, then after screening the list of professors from the available universities in each country, then you have to list on the scholarships. Then you have to list on the scholarships of each university. What are the possible scholarships available in that universities? Then you have to start writing your proposal, or you can have proposal before to this activity. I suppose 45 professors, out of 45 professors, I suppose most of out of these 45 professors, I suppose 10 to 15 professors, the area of interest and your area of interest are same. Okay. Suppose he is working in portfolio site domain. The second professor is working in corporate finance domain. Third is working in corporate governance domain. And fourth is also working in investment management. Fifth is working in corporate domain. Okay. In this university, I suppose first professor is working in risk management or asset pricing side. Or second professor is working in, I think, energy finance, I assume. And third professor is working in corporate finance. Here, if we look at this professor, he is working in, I suppose, he is working in risk management or banking sector. He is the next professor is working in banking and risk professor. Then you have to choose the professors having common interests, they are working in the same domain, you have to classify, I suppose, the major categories in which different professors are working. I suppose there are four major categories, like corporate finance domain, corporate governance domain, and I suppose risk management, investment side, and sustainable finance, climate finance, and so on. Then here you have to think about yourself. Then I will be suggesting you have to develop at least three proposals, very brief proposals. Like I am working in domain of corporate finance as well as corporate governance, risk management, and sustainable finance. Okay, everyone is having their area of interests. A couple of area of interest. One, there might be only one area of interest of anyone. So I'll be suggesting here you have five major categories. Suppose corporate finance, corporate governance, risk management, investment side, and sustainable finance or banking, so on. Then you have to prepare yourself for your proposal. And I will be suggesting that you have to develop at least three very brief proposals. But before constructing proposal, there is lot of readings and understanding the concept and basics, and we have to strengthen ourselves by after exploring the literature and so on. Then you can develop a good proposal which can convince the professors or your supervisor. This was all about how we can select the professor or supervisor. And after that, in Australia, after going through Australia, then you can go for the next country which you have targeted. Suppose USA, same approach. You have file here, new file. You have to list down the USA universities, and then you can follow the same approach. Same approach you can apply for next country, that is New Zealand. So it will take you a couple of quarters, but in the end you will be at good place, and you can hunt the scholarship, and you can avail your admission in PhD. So same approach you can follow. Our next lecture, I will let you know that how we can write a very brief proposal for our PhD admission or postdoc admission, postdoc fellowship or master admission. There are two types of proposal. One is brief proposal, while we submit at the time of taking admission or consent of professor or your supervisor. And there is another type that is a very how I can say, that is full proposal, while you are going to defend your research first part, that is about theoretical side and so on. We will be discussing these all components in our next video. Thank you very much. I wish you best of luck.